The lights blazed across the sleek glass table, cameras humming quietly as the studio audience filled every seat, murmuring with excitement. This wasn't just any show day for The View. It was Tom Cruise Day. The producers had been hyping it all week. Hollywood's biggest star. Live up close, unfiltered. Joy Behar sat at her usual spot, flipping through her cue cards with a practiced calm that came from years of live television. She'd interviewed presidents, pop icons, and politicians who couldn't take a joke, but there was something different about Cruise. He had that mix of intensity and control that fascinated her, and if she was being honest, slightly annoyed her. Whoopi Goldberg leaned over from her seat, her tone half joking, half serious. "Joy, please don't start anything today. Let the man talk about his movie before you make him jump off the table," Joy smirked. "I'm harmless." Sarah Haynes laughed softly. "That's what people say right before the fire starts." Before Joy could answer, the stage manager's voice cut through the chatter. "We're live in 5, people. 4, 3, the red light blinked on, and the theme music kicked in. "Welcome back to The View." Whoopi began, smiling broadly into the camera. "We've got an amazing guest joining us today, an actor who's done it all, from fighter jets to secret agents. Give it up for Tom Cruise." The audience erupted. Cheers, whistles, applause. And then through the sliding stage doors, he appeared. Tom Cruise walked out in a perfectly tailored charcoal suit, the confident ease of someone who had lived half his life under bright lights. He waved, flashing that unmistakable grin that seemed to radiate charm and precision all at once. As he reached the table, he shook hands with each host, Whoopi, Sarah, Sonny, then Joy last. She looked him in the eye when their hands met. "You look shorter in person," she teased with a smile. The crowd laughed. Tom chuckled too. "That's because you're sitting down," he quipped back smoothly, earning even louder laughter. Whoopi grinned. "Oh, it's going to be that kind of morning, huh?" "Always," Joy said, folding her hands in mock innocence. They dove into the segment, the opening questions light and breezy. Whoopi steered it toward his new film, Mission Infinity, and Tom lit up. His whole energy shifted when he spoke about his work, eyes sharp, hands moving with conviction as he described scaling real mountains, piloting a helicopter through a storm, and running across a moving train at full speed. Sarah leaned forward, fascinated. "You actually do all that yourself? No doubles?" Tom smiled modestly. "That's right. I train with the team for months before each big stunt. It's about discipline and trusting your crew completely." Joy tilted her head, her expression playful. "And your insurance company loves that, I bet." Tom laughed politely. "They've learned to stop asking questions." The audience laughed again, but there was already that faint crackle in the air, that sense that Joy was winding up for something. She was good at that. When Whoopi asked him about why he still risked his life for every film, Tom said something that landed deep in the audience's chest. "Because I love storytelling. I love showing people what's possible. If I can make someone believe they can do something bigger than they thought they could, even for 2 hours, then I've done my job." The crowd applauded. Even Whoopi looked genuinely moved. But Joy? She gave a small, amused smile and said, "You make it sound like you're saving the world, Tom. It's just movies." The laughter that followed was light, but Tom's expression shifted ever so slightly. His smile didn't fade, but it lost its warmth. "Well," he said evenly, "movies have a way of inspiring people. I take that seriously." "Maybe too seriously?" Joy asked. "You've got this reputation for being, what's the word? Intense." The word hung in the air. Tom leaned back, folding his hands loosely. "I've heard that before, but I don't think caring deeply about what you do is a flaw." "Sure," Joy said, "but you've got to admit, people still remember you jumping on Oprah's couch like a man possessed." The audience laughed nervously. Whoopi frowned. "That was 20 years ago," Tom replied calmly. "I was excited. I think most people would be if they were in love." "Maybe," Joy said, shrugging. "But to a lot of folks, that's the moment you went from movie star to meme." The air got heavier. Sarah glanced toward the producers. The crowd murmured, unsure whether to laugh or hold their breath. Tom gave a faint smile, but his voice was steadier now, quieter but sharper. You know, Joy, people love turning moments into punchlines. It's easier to laugh than to understand. Joy blinked. Oh, don't take it so seriously, I'm joking. I get that, Tom said, leaning in slightly. But I think sometimes the joke becomes a wall, a way of dismissing people instead of listening to them. The audience's reaction was mixed. A few claps, a few gasps. Whoopi shifted in her chair, trying to regain control. All right. Let's bring it back. Tom, you're also doing some amazing work with charities, right? Tom nodded politely, but his gaze lingered on Joy. Yes, I believe success doesn't mean much unless you share it. Especially with kids who don't have the same chances I did. The moment the red light above the cameras dimmed and the familiar theme music faded, the studio seemed to exhale all at once. The tension that had hung thick in the air during the exchange between Joy and Tom was now palpable, humming beneath every movement, every whispered conversation between crew members. The live audience murmured, half thrilled, half stunned, as they waited for direction. Tom sat back in his chair, jaw tight but expression carefully neutral. He'd been here before. Not here exactly, but in situations where people prodded too far, where smiles were masks and teasing became disguised disrespect. It wasn't new to him, but this time it was live, and Joy had hit something she shouldn't have. Whoopi was the first to speak, leaning toward the producer who hovered nervously behind the cameras. You gotta give us a minute, she muttered. We can't just jump back in like nothing happened. The producer nodded quickly. We'll extend the break by 3. Joy sipped her coffee like nothing had happened, but her hand trembled slightly, the clink of the mug against the table betraying her. She avoided Tom's gaze. It wasn't embarrassment, not yet. It was irritation. She'd been doing this too long to let a guest throw her off, but something about the way he'd said it, you just crossed the line, had cut deeper than she expected. Tom finally turned to her, his voice calm but low enough that only the hosts could hear. You know, Joy, I've done a lot of interviews. People have joked, pushed, debated. That's fine. But there's a difference between a question and mockery. Joy set her mug down. You think I was mocking you? Oh, come on, Tom. Don't take everything so personally. It's television. We keep it lively. It wasn't lively, he said simply. It was disrespectful. Whoopi's hand shot between them like a referee breaking up a scuffle. Okay, let's not turn the break into round 2. Everyone cool off. Sarah tried to change the subject, her voice tentative. You know, I think what Tom's saying makes sense. Passion looks different on everyone. Maybe people misunderstand that sometimes. Joy gave her a sharp look. Oh, please, don't start psychoanalyzing me now. Tom's gaze stayed on Joy, steady but not angry. It was that unnerving calm that made his words hit harder. I'm not trying to win an argument, he said. But when someone reduces your entire life's work to a punchline, it says more about them than about you. Joy's laugh was thin, forced. My God, you really are intense. Can't you just let it roll off your back? I've let a lot roll off my back, he said. But I won't let someone twist passion into insanity for laughs. That kind of attitude is why people stop trying to be great. They're afraid someone will tear them down for caring too much. The words hung heavy in the air. Even the audience, who had been whispering among themselves, went quiet again. Whoopi sighed, rubbing her temples. All right, I'm calling it. We'll do the rest of the show without taking any more questions from Joy. Joy spun toward her. Excuse me? You're kidding, right? Not kidding, Whoopi said, looking exhausted. We're live. We've got 5 million people watching. You just poked the bear? Let's not poke him again. That drew a small chuckle from the audience, but Tom didn't smile. He turned toward the crew. Are we back on soon? 30 seconds, one of the producers called, clearly desperate to move past the tension. Tom nodded, fixing his collar. Joy adjusted her cards, but didn't say another word. When the red light blinked back on and Whoopi's practiced smile returned, the tone of the show was different. The energy wasn't playful anymore. It was careful. "Welcome back to The View, everyone," Whoopi said with forced brightness. "We're here with the incredible Tom Cruise, talking about his new film, Mission Infinity." The applause sign lit up, and the crowd clapped, though the sound felt thin, uncertain. Tom smiled for the camera, the consummate professional. "Thanks, Whoopi. I really appreciate being here."